What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's had a good Friday so far. Looking forward to an interesting live tonight. I think we'll have some good discussions about things. We had some really good discussions last night. It's kind of more laid back. I enjoyed it. A lot more to talk about today. Still something going on with TikTok and me trying to get on live. I don't know what's going on with it, so that's why I was trying to wait to let it get on as well, but I don't even know if it's going to happen. So go ahead and jump on. Hey, Tammy. Hey, well, hello, Tammy and Tammy. Got Tammy with a Y and Tammy with an E. Carolyn from NC. Hey, Wallace, how are you doing? I did put out about a 20-minute podcast today about Flock. We just kind of went into a little more detail on some case law. It kills me when I commented on some people's posts that was talking about Flock, and people comment under me, "What an ignorant comment. You don't know what you're talking about. You should get educated." I actually, and then those of you that were on here last night, do you remember one thing we discussed when I said, please, people, stop posting a screenshot of ChatGPT answer and posting it on social media as it's fact? Y'all remember, like, we literally said that last night. That happened today to me. Like, somebody posted that under one of my comments that literally a screenshot of a ChatGPT answer, and it was wrong. And so they're like, get educated. Acting like they knew more about Flock than I do when they obviously don't know anything. So they have obviously never used it. I used it for over 5 years. They got their answers from ChatGPT and telling me to get educated. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. So I'll say again, if you want to make yourself look completely ignorant, post a screenshot of a ChatGPT answer as fact. And you've won. Let me bring it up. Not only that, I don't know if it's the guy that I was talking about it with, but someone took a screenshot of my comment and then made a TikTok video out of it, calling me an idiot, and they were the ones that was wrong. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. What's up, Nancy? I like your new profile pic, by the way. And we're not going to spend much time at all not talking about Flock. We talked about it a lot last night, and I did a podcast on it today. I just wanted to show this just because it was so hilarious to me because we talked about that last night and then it happened today. And for the ones that were commenting on my comments, disagreeing and having adult conversations about it, I love that back and forth. Again, I love debating, but there's always that one. Now, one thing, and I want everyone's honest opinion. Like, I'm not going to. Like, I'm not going to like start arguing with you or call you an idiot or anything. Like, I want everyone's opinion of how you feel about this. The people's argument about that it is tracking your movements. And then one of my main points has been your cell phone tracks literally everything you do, listens to you, all that. If you carry that around, the fact that you have an issue with flock cameras to me doesn't make any sense. None. But someone made that point that your phones, are tracking way more. And then this person commented, social media isn't forced upon us by the government. Childish argument. My response was, government does not force you to drive on the public roadways. Am I right or am I wrong in that? The lava lamp's on. Oh, I haven't seen the Tiny Keenan today. We'll look at it. Somebody messaged me about it and said it was funny. I haven't seen it yet. But am I right or am I wrong? So And this person said, oh, that's a childish argument. Your point is the government doesn't force you to take your cell phone. They also don't force you to drive on public roads. I didn't think that was too far from the same thing. Some people did. And so I truly wanted to know everybody's opinion on that. Was that just dumb of me to say? Is that a dumb comparison? Because to me, it's not, but maybe it is to everyone else. So let me get on with the original thing I was going to talk about, that I was going to bring up. Well, my camera's all out of whack over here on this scene. What's going on? And this was all on Munchies and Murders post, by the way. She had made a post about Flock. So this Christopher Pridmore, social media isn't forced upon us by the government. Childish argument. And then there's my response is, nor is Flock. The government doesn't force you to drive your vehicle on a public roadway. He says, this is by far the most ignorant comment I've seen in a while. Again, I literally just stated a fact. That I literally stated a fact that no one can argue. No one can argue that fact that I posted. There's literally no argument to that. And this guy's response is, most ignorant comment I've seen in a while. I don't understand these people. So here's where I learned this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's learning off of ChatGPT. If our government installed all these mass surveillance AI cameras and database without a single vote or public discussion, then yes, they were most definitely forced upon us, and the roads we the people paid for, sheep, will always followed when ordered to. Yep, I am known as a follower. I'm sure everybody knows that. So, and my response to that is AI cameras. These literally take a picture of the back of your vehicle with your license plate. That's it. Absolutely zero AI required. How do I know that? because I used Flock way before AI was a thing. And they have not changed. They're the exact same thing. Again, no one forces you to drive on the road. Also, since when do citizens vote on law enforcement tools? Because that to me is a childish argument. Like citizens don't vote on what tools law enforcement get to use. That would be crazy. Again, most citizens don't even know a lot of the tools law enforcement have. That's the job of SCOTUS to determine if they are constitutional. They have ruled many times they do not violate your Fourth Amendment. And then here it is. Here's my favorite thing. When someone posts a screenshot of a ChatGPT answer. And up above, education is key. Yes, flock cameras are AI cameras. Well, then it's got to be true. ChatGPT said it, so it is. It has to be true. Again, these cameras existed before AI. And they still take the exact same type of picture that they did before AI. Like, again, that's an argument no one can argue. That's just the way it is. But since ChatGPT told him the answer he wanted to hear, he tells me to get educated. You can't make this stuff up. This stuff kills me. And then Munchie said, SCOTUS has made no direct rulings on LPRs, which is correct, and I should have been more clear, which I'll get to in just a second. And then this person, you're full of it. SCOTUS has not issued an opinion on this, and the cameras themselves aren't the root of the issue. It's the collection and aggregation of data on your movements over a period of days or weeks, and the police access to that without a warrant. Go read Carpenter and then Chartier. You're clueless. It's funny she didn't read the one that, in my opinion, is the closest to their argument of why Flock violates their Fourth Amendment. And that's U.S. v. Knotts. Again, these people, they conveniently leave things out that would even possibly go against their opinion. Again, I'm clueless. I guarantee you I'm the only one in this fucking conversation that's ever used the system. It just kills me when people act like this when they've never even used it and they're learning their answers off ChatGPT. And then here's where I respond back to Munchies. I was referring to United States v. Knotts, which they ruled that anyone traveling on public roads has no expectation of privacy in their movements from one place to another. That's literally what they ruled in U.S. v. Knotts. And that is literally the argument that I've seen from almost everybody about why they violate your Fourth Amendment, because they're tracking your movements on public roads. Has anyone else seen another argument as to why they say that they're violating their Fourth Amendment? That's the one I keep seeing. And again, U.S. v. Knotts literally states that exact thing and says no expectation of privacy. Now, the case law that's my opinion. SCOTUS could rule Monday against Flock. I mean, I don't know. So this is just my opinion. But what frustrates me is them only posting and bringing up the case law that supports their argument and not any of the case law that would go against their argument. Looks like TikTok's maybe going to finally work, so let's see. And again, like I said last night, look, I know that a lot of people that I respect and rarely disagree with we're going to see differently on this topic, and that's fine. And then quickly on Carpenter v. U.S., the one that they keep quoting, and that was the one that ruled your cell phone location violated your reasonable expectation of privacy. And so law enforcement has to have a warrant now on that. And I completely agree with that ruling. To me, the biggest difference between Carpenter, what they ruled in Carpenter, and then what they ruled in Knotts, and then what Flock does not track you everywhere. It only tracks you on public roadways. Carpenter, your cell phone data tracks you every single where you go, even on your own private property. So yes, I completely agree that that would be a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. But to me, that's a huge difference. Because again, and Knotts is not the only case that SCOTUS has ruled that you have no reasonable expectation of privacy on public roadways. There's numerous other ones. But Knotts specifically states when traveling from one point to another. So, and again, I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, that's the only right answer. I'm not saying that because that's not true. This is all, I mean, 10 different people could have 10 different opinions of what they pull from these case laws of how they would affect Flock as far as what is SCOTUS ever going to even, is SCOTUS ever even going to accept a case on Flock? We don't know. They may not. They may tomorrow. Again, there's no way of knowing that. I just like to get people to thinking. And that's especially why on issues like this, I hope everyone understands it's okay to disagree with even your best friend and to have an adult conversation about it, an adult debate. Again, some of us love debating as long as you keep it respectful. But the main reason I wanted to show this was I just brought up last night and was talking about people please stop posting screenshots of ChatGPT answers as fact on social media because it makes you look so stupid. And then it happened today. And that killed me. But in my personal belief, I just don't believe you have that same expectation of privacy on public roadways. Me, as a private citizen, could go out on the roadway and video you every single day. I've got a road that runs right beside my house, the backside of my house. I could put a camera on my back fence and video that road 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And every single person that goes down that road, I could track. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't understand why all of a sudden people say, well, police shouldn't be able to do that. Again, SCOTUS may rule against it next week, but as of now, they have not. And plus, I enjoy debating over this stuff. But here's another one. Social media is, in fact, a choice where Flock is not. So a lot of you weren't on here a while ago because now we have TikTok up. So I want your honest opinion. And I'm not going to like call you out or say you're dumb or anything like that if you disagree with me. Like I truly want your opinion on this. We're talking about the Flock, and also we're not going to talk about Flock much tonight. We talked about it a lot last night, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people, most of the people that have a problem, an issue with Flock, say it violates their Fourth Amendment. And one of my main points has always been your cell phone tracks you literally every single move you make. It listens to you. I mean, it tracks everything. So if you carry that around, I don't understand why you have such a big problem with Flock. So their response back to that is, well, social media is and phones, whatever, all in the same thing, is in fact a choice where Flock is not. And my response is, and this is what I want all of your opinion on. The government doesn't force you to have a cell phone. I agree with that. The government also doesn't force you to drive on public roads. So to me, that's the same argument. I'm for a police state. Okay. That's why I spend half of my life calling out corrupt law enforcement and have been, I mean, my degree's in political science with an emphasis on constitutional law. I'm huge on the Constitution. There's a lot of things I disagree with that I think violates our rights. Again, if you own this, I don't see how you have an argument with Flock. People say, number one, I used Flock for over 5 years, and it is literally the most amazing, most effective tool law enforcement's ever had. I mean, in my opinion, it is the best tool that law enforcement's ever had. The amount of people that it's saved is just astronomical. There's no telling. But also, I don't see how you have an argument if you carry this around, because this records you 24/7, literally records every single movement, every stroke, every website you go. I mean, everything is saved on this. Everything. And if you choose to carry a phone with you, I can't get facts right on TikTok. Tell me what I mean, I've been wrong before. I don't disagree with that, but can you be specific in what I've been wrong about as far as facts on TikTok? But anyway, so their argument is government doesn't force you to have a cell phone, doesn't force you to have social media. I agree. Government also does not force you to drive on a public road. And that is where Flock takes pictures of you, of your car. Seriously, that's your fucking argument? You said Mark Moon is a preacher at Redeemed? Yes, and I corrected myself the next fucking day. So yes, that was a simple mistake. I thought you were going to say I got my facts wrong in something serious. That was a detail that didn't even matter to the story. But again, anyway, can someone tell me how those arguments are different? And I want everybody's honest opinion. With government doesn't force you to have your cell phone, they also don't force you to drive on a public road. Again, those are the same argument. And for people that say, well, people has to drive, do more people in the United States have cars or cell phones? A lot more people have cell phones. Those numbers are not even close. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't have a cell phone. I know quite a few people who don't have a car. Tons of people that live in one of the biggest cities in this country don't have a car. But they all have cell phones. But give me y'all's opinion on that. Am I completely wrong for comparing those two things? Tracy, what you are wrong about Flock. They proved it ties your phone to your tag in car. That's not true. Please go watch the podcast I put out today. Flock, literally, I'm telling y'all, I used the system for over 5 years. It takes a picture of the back of your car, which includes your license plate number. That is it. That is it. The one thing that I will completely agree with everybody on Flock is the penalties for misuse need to be a lot more severe than they are. It needs at least you be fired immediately and lose your law enforcement credentials immediately, where you can never be in law enforcement again. And if it constitutes any type of crime, then you should be arrested. And if they do that, that's going to cut down on a lot of misuse. But still today, right now, per month, there are over 140,000 active users, law enforcement, that use Flock. Over 140,000 active. There are over 250,000 that have access. And so far, there's only been like 38 documented cases of misuse. Now, I understand that's not all the people that's been misused. That's just the ones that have been caught. I get that. So the number of people that's misused it is probably quite a bit higher than that. I don't disagree with that. But let's say times that times 5, you're still way, way less than 1% of users misuse it. Just last year in 2025, flock cameras were responsible for recovering over 10,000 missing persons. Over 10,000. And those numbers don't come from Flock. They came from the agencies that use Flock. And I'll even give you, let's say that somehow that agencies have exaggerated 5,000 of those cases. That one law enforcement tool was responsible for recovering let's be very conservative, 5,000 missing people. I'm telling y'all, it's the best tool law enforcement's ever had. That's why I stand behind it so much. Now, here's the number that pushes me over the edge to where I will not be against Flock. Last year in 2025, per NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So again, not per Flock, per NCMEC. Flock cameras were responsible for recovering over 100 missing children, most of which were part of Amber Alerts and possible abductions. Over 100. Let's say that number was 1. Okay, it's worth it. Again, that's my opinion. I understand a lot of people are going to disagree, and that's okay. But that's a big number to me. But acting like the problem is because, like Katie just said, it's only a problem right now because stupid cops taking advantage. That's not a good argument either, because again, way less than 1% misuse the system. Now, 1 is too many. I agree with that. But there is no system that's perfect. You're never going to get that number to 0. That's not going to happen. Just like with NCIC, police officers misuse it. Those penalties are very severe if caught. The same should be for Flock. If they misuse Flock, there's no sense in me going back over what I just said, but I agree the penalties need to be, that stuff needs to be fixed. I completely agree with that. I started using Flock in law enforcement in like 2018, and not a lot of places had them then. Like that's when they first started hitting, and I just happened to be working for one of the agencies that got some of those in the early beginnings. So I started using it in 2018. Now I used an example of NCIC being misused. Driving by your ex-girlfriend's house or ex-wife's house or husband, whatever, and seeing a car that you don't know there and running the tag number to find out who that car belongs to. So that's a misuse of NCIC. And again, that's very serious. If you're caught, NCIC will pull your credentials for NCIC. In most cases, never give it back to you. And if you can't have access to NCIC as law enforcement, you're pretty much worthless because you can't run license plates, you can't run driver's license. So you can't do the job. Also, the person that you misused the system on can sue you personally, and there's no qualified immunity there. They can sue you personally, and I don't see how they could lose. So you're probably also, if the person wants to, push it anyway, you're probably also going to lose everything you own. So, I mean, it's very serious. Now, there's still people that misuse it, but that's a police officer misusing NCIC is nuts to me. Just like misusing flock. They just need to make the penalties the same. Yes, Cody. So if you suspect something like that's happened, now you need a good suspicion, like, you know, that happened. But yes, you can contact Alabama's Office for NCIC, which is, why am I drawing a blank? Oh my God, I'll think of it in a second. But each state has a center that controls all their state's NCIC stuff. But yes, you can contact them in Montgomery and say, hey, I think, my ex-wife, who's a police officer, ran my new girlfriend's tag number. And they can type it in and they can pull it. Like, still today, somebody could go to NCIC and pull up the log of literally every single person and vehicle. Everything I've ever in my career ran through NCIC is there. It's a permanent log. Very easy to find. The tricky part with that is SCOTUS has. Hey, what's up, Cody? SCOTUS has ruled that a police officer, while on duty, can drive through a Walmart parking lot. This is an example, and run every single tag in that parking lot, and they don't have to have reasonable suspicion. I mean, they can run every tag they see if they want to. Now, again, a police officer would know that even if they're on duty and they pass by ex-wife's house and there's a car there, they better not run that tag, because if they're caught doing that they're done. Does it happen? Yes. But the penalties are very severe if they're caught. Back from Sumter County. Yes, especially nowadays, a lot of patrol vehicles have LPR, license plate readers, and those, literally every single vehicle, every single tag that camera sees, it immediately runs through the system. So, I mean, it's running hundreds and hundreds of vehicles through the system, and the officer's not even having to do anything. So what it does, it runs everything, and if it hits a tag that the person has warrants, it flashes up on their screen for them. Well, Let's is NCIC. Let's is just, but Let's is what you go through to run things through, but because everything is ultimately ran through NCIC, Let's is just a nicer software. Don't quote me on this, as far as I'm trying to make it in layman's terms as easy to understand, but it's like a more convenient software for officers in their cars or in the office to run things quickly, versus having to have NCIC portal pulled up. Yeah, Let's is statewide, but everything that's in Let's is also in NCIC, if that makes sense. can ask a question about flock cameras and like the cameras that take your picture if you run a red light. Yeah, oh, absolutely, Ben. Let's hear it. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank of the freaking uh, Aegis is the word I was looking for. Apparently, they have recently changed the name because this says a formerly known as Aegis, and now it's just called the Aaliyah Criminal Justice Information Services Division. Yeah, it's an office in Montgomery, but that's who you would contact. That's who oversees like Alabama's compliance with the NCIC and enforces that compliance and all that stuff. We're currently discussing flock, but we're not going to be discussing it much longer because we talked about it a lot last night. I don't want to spend. We're not talking about it tonight. So I've heard that you don't have to pay them because the law states you have the right to face your accuser in court. Okay. While we're on this, I'm glad you brought this up, Ben. While we're on this cameras, law enforcement, one of the things that I am 100% against and that I agree violates our rights, and I don't understand how they're still operating, are the ticket cameras, the red light cameras and stuff like that that give you a ticket if you run a red light. I don't agree with that. I don't see how that's legal. Because as Ben just stated, you have the right to face your accuser in court. With those systems, you don't. You just get a ticket in the mail and you got to pay it. Now, you cannot criminally be charged for not paying that. So they cannot issue a warrant on you for not paying those. But they can put it on your credit. So if you've got good credit and want to keep good credit, and I hate to say this, but you better pay it. But I don't agree with those. I truly, 100%, I think those are a violation of our rights. I don't understand why more people are not screaming about those. That is a that is a private company that's profiting off of traffic tickets. How is that legal? But yeah, I'm glad you brought those up. Yeah, you can't again, and that's only. Let me be clear. That is only for the tickets, the traffic camera tickets that you get in the mail if you run a red light or something. Like we've got them all over Tuscaloosa. If you run a red light here, you're going to get a ticket. It's going to show up in the mail at some point. So they can't put a criminal charge on you if you don't pay them. But again, they will put it on your credit and it'll go against your credit. But I don't agree with that at all. I'm 100% against that. I've never understood how they're legal. The fact that SCOTUS has not struck those down is beyond me. Yeah, my truck also tells me I'm approaching red light cameras, which I mean, I'm very cautious about running. Like, I don't run red lights. I mean, not that I've never have. I mean, I accidentally have at times in my life, but I do treat those pretty serious because you'll lose your life quick. So yeah, I mean, don't be running red lights, but you know what I'm saying. Can they not suspend a license? Oh, first off, don't take legal advice from me. I'm not a lawyer. Let me be clear about that. Do not take legal advice from me. I am not an attorney. Um, and to answer your question, Kathy, I don't think so, but don't quote me on that. Again, that's something you ask, find an attorney and ask them because I truly don't know 100% either way, and I don't want to tell somebody wrong. So ask an attorney, ask your attorney that because I don't want to tell you wrong. Oh, that's right. Like Christy said, she's in a wheelchair because someone was texting and driving and ran one. So not only may you take your own, it costs you your own life, you could take someone else's that's completely innocent or, I mean, hurt them very badly. Um, that goes, one of my other huge pet peeves is texting and driving. If I see you texting and driving, I'm the kind, I'm going to pull up beside you at the red light and I'm going to yell at you 100% of the time. I'll tell you to get off your freaking phone. I do it almost every day. I have to. It is so freaking dangerous. Some of the worst car accidents I've ever seen were because of texting and driving. What is it I'm supposed to say? Trigger warning. So, trigger warning, seriously. One of the worst car accidents I've seen that I pulled up on was a person texting, driving down the interstate, and a flatbed tractor trailer. Traffic was stopped up ahead because of construction or wreck. I don't remember. And so the flatbed tractor trailer was stopped, and she was texting and driving and never even hit the brakes and went and nailed the back of that flatbed truck and decapitated her completely. It was horrible. Her phone still clutched in her hand. I'll never forget it. Like I have a little PTSD from it. I mean, honestly, because it was just, man, it was so sad. Number one, and it just stopped texting and driving. Yes, texting and driving in Alabama. I don't I don't know the laws for all the other states, but Alabama, that includes stopped at a red light. If you are on a public road in your vehicle and you're driving, you cannot be texting. You can't be looking at your phone doing anything. It is against the law. And I hope you get a ticket if you do it. Just to be honest. I'm telling you, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Hey, thank you, Joyce. I appreciate that. No, life's a journey. You're exactly right. You can almost always tell when somebody's texting and driving because of the way they're driving. You see them going all over the place. But yeah, almost every time I see that, I'll get up beside them because I've already said in my head or sometimes out loud, freaking texting and driving. I'll get up there and sure enough, I've been driving down the 4-lane close to my house. This was not long ago, a couple months ago. And someone was texting and driving. And like you said, like they were kind of all over the road. And I was like, I bet they're texting. I'd get up beside them. And sure enough, she's looking down at her phone, texting. I'm honking my horn. I'm right beside her, honking my horn. Roll my passenger window down and waving, honking my horn. And she never looks up. She was so keyed in to whatever she was texting, that didn't even get her attention. It was crazy. But yes, if it's so important, pull over. I do that a lot now. If something pops up, like a text that I need to read right then or something, then I just pull over. Sadly, our big rig drivers are notorious. Don't come at me because I was a driver. I don't fully understand what you're saying. Are you saying that they're known to text a lot and drive? That's even crazier. But yeah, my biggest pet peeves on the road, DUIs, texting and driving. And for God's sake, get out of the left lane. Go ahead and tell you now. Get out of the left lane. The left lane. And it blows my mind the amount of people that don't honestly understand this. The left lane is for passing only. If you find yourself in the left lane for more than 5 minutes, you're wrong. Unless you're on the interstate and there's just tons of traffic or something, it is for passing. It is not an extra lane to drive in. I don't care how fast you're going. Get out of the freaking left lane. And honestly, and I know this sounds horrible, out of everything, that's the one that pisses me, that gives me road rage 100% of the time. I've gotten a little better at it, but God, it drives me insane. Hey, thank you, Joyce. I appreciate that. But if you never listen to anything else I ever say about anything, please listen to that. Get out of the left lane. Tell your friends, your family, your children, get out of the left lane. Because more than likely, I'm speeding. And I don't need you slowing me up in the left lane. And if you've not heard me before, no, I'm not a hypocrite. I wrote one speeding ticket in my entire law enforcement career. No, I'm sorry, two. I wrote 2 speeding tickets in my entire law enforcement career. And they were not just speeding, they were driving crazy fast, recklessly. One was a 16-year-old, and I was afraid they were going to lose their life because of the way they were driving. And the other was in a Dodge Hellcat, and it was on a 2-lane road and probably going 120 miles an hour. It was crazy. But anyway, I wrote 2 speeding tickets in my entire life. There is a big difference in speeding and driving recklessly. If you get pulled over in Alabama for 140, you're going to jail, especially if it's a trooper. I promise you that. That's crazy speed. The fastest I ever even been in a patrol vehicle, and it was in a Tahoe, was 135, and that was in a pursuit. But no, don't drive that fast. When I say I'm speeding, I'm going like 85 and a 70. I'm not driving 100 miles an hour or anything. So this Brian that some of y'all are reporting or responding to, I don't see their comments. So one of my mods, if y'all see his comment, pin it so I can see it. I'm just curious what it says. I think you just making money on here, and I don't know you interested in nothing but that. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate those words. I would go through my rant again, but I literally just went through it in the last week on here because somebody said the same thing. Hey, Brian, do you, serious question, do you work? And again, for some reason, I can't see his comments. So if he responds, you'll have to pin it. Retired. So, so you used to work. You used to go to a job every day. Why? Legit question. Why did you go to work? That's also a good point, Ben. That is a good point. Okay, so I see he said retired, like they said. So I'm curious, when you did work, why did you go to work? Oh, we got another good one on YouTube. Trying to see if you can. Uh, Danny Dog on YouTube said, faking as an agent. Bet Derek played women's sport ball. Well, you obviously know who I am because you just said my first name and you're on YouTube. Doubt Derek Baker fired cop works. Uh, question: when was I fired? Where was I fired from? I'm just curious because I'm not aware of it, so I'm curious to know. I'm sure he's not going to answer because there's no answer, but we'll see. I think the guy's drunk. You're probably right, Monica. Faking as an agent. Caught me. Here, Brian. Tell me what that says. Oh, it's backwards. Hold on. I got to change my screen. There we go. Can you read, Brian? You probably do have issues reading, but just that. don't know if y'all can read that or not. I also have all my badges, but they're in like shadow cases, so it's much easier. I mean, I'm not just jerking those off the wall. It'd be a You are CIA agent Baker. William, you're gonna keep saying that. Somebody's gonna believe it. Yep, Brian, I do not see your comments. I wished I did. I wish I did. What does the W stand for? My middle name. My middle name is Wayne. I thought Brian had left. So did he ever answer my question of why he went to work? Oh, that's awesome, Jessica. Did I? Did did we talk, Jessica? Oh, so we didn't talk. I couldn't remember. I kind of thought we did, but then I wasn't sure. Well, if you would, unless you did it before, message me. I would be interested in talking to you about what's going on. And I'll also offer you to be a guest on the podcast to talk about it. Obviously, that's up to you if you want to do that, but the offer's there. Now, if you didn't message me, I didn't message you. I don't ever message anyone first. 40-year retired truck driver. I can finally see Brian's messages. Yes, I worked hard to support my. So why did you go to work? Was my question, Brian. Like, what was the reason? I mean, what I'm getting at. Did you go to work to make money, or did you go because you just loved it so much? Because that's life. So what's cool about me is I'm working doing something that I could not love more. So my point is I've never understood the people that act like it's a sin for us to make money. I mean, unless you're against capitalism, which some people are, so I get that. But if you're not, then I don't understand the people that act like it's a sin for us to make money. Hey, Amy, how are you? Now, on the other hand, to say I'm only doing this to make money is comical because I've been at it literally right at a year now. And trust me, I'm not in the positive. Not even close yet. Not even close. Now, my hope is one day I'm in the positive, but that has not come yet. Well, Brian has apologized for everybody else on the other platforms, and I appreciate that. Seriously, I really do. Oh, thank you, Amy. That means a lot to me. I don't know that I fully agree with it, but I do appreciate your kind words. Seriously. Uh, and I agree with you, Kay. I do. Most of the time, I don't pay him any attention, and I just move on. Sometimes I'm just in it. Honestly, when I'm in a good mood, I will usually entertain it just to pick back at them. It's that's the proof that I'm not fully mature yet. I'm still maturing, but sometimes I just like the bickering back and forth about it and picking back at them. But you are correct. Oh, you're from Hamilton? Awesome. I'm still not mature and I'm 61. Yeah, sometimes I pretend to be mature, but I'm not really mature. Thank you, Joyce. But no, most of the time I don't entertain people like Danny Dog over here, but I'm in a good mood tonight. And he never answered me when I asked him where I got fired from and when. He may have left. I should be after last night. Loves to drink. Are you saying I should be fired after last night? What are you saying? I didn't realize I did that bad of a job last night. Oh, the good mood. Okay. I thought you were talking about I should have been fired after last night. I mean, y'all are the ones that can fire me. Y'all are my bosses, so that's up to y'all. Katie said she's tried firing me. That's true as well. You got to have a little humor in your life. Who says you have to act your age all the time? No, I absolutely have to have humor in my life, or I would be legit completely crazy. I'm close to it anyway. Uh-oh. Where are any of my other people on? Melissa, Isha. Did they fire me? Where are they? I don't think any of them's on. I just realized that. Do I have nothing better to do than bash churches? I've never bashed a church. So I don't. Are you talking about the cult that I call out? The ramp? Yeah, dude, that's not a church. I promise you that's not a church. Um, a real church doesn't allow hundreds of children to be horribly harmed. A real church doesn't allow at least 8 people, at least 8 known child predators on their staff at one time or the other. That's not a real church. That is a cult. A real church. Well, this is easier. Let me tell you what a cult is. A cult, most, the biggest percentage of cults always have one supreme leader. And do you know what those leaders call themselves? Prophets. Almost every one of them. Some of them literally go a step further and call themselves God or Jesus. Most claim they're a prophet. Cults have their members bow down and worship them, the leader. A church doesn't do that. A church worships God, not the leader. Cults have forced manual labor without pay. A real church doesn't. Cults keep their people starving and vulnerable. A church doesn't do that. A church feeds its people, literally. If they're hungry, they feed them. Those are just the ones that just jump off right out of my head. There are more that I'm sure I'm not thinking of right at this moment. But every single thing I just said, 100% factual, no doubt, happens at the ramp. Almost called it the cult. The cult. Again, there's Melissa. Have you been on here? Yeah, there you go. Control, like Melissa just said, control, manipulation. Can't question authority. Not allowed to ask questions. Forced to keep secrets, taught to keep secrets, twist scripture. Melissa just said that. Oh, you was on TikTok? Okay. I thought you had fired me. I was going to. Did you see what I saw a while ago, Melissa? I was curious if any of y'all knew what that was. What was going on? Here, it's something I was going to do the other night that we'll do. Because we need to talk about the ramp a little bit anyway. Someone, and I'm not going to name them because I appreciate them messaging me, asking me a question, but someone that attends the ramp, and I'm guessing just like the summer things or something, asked me a question, and I'm just going to read the question and then answer it. I, it'll take me a second to find it. down here somewhere. All right, here it is. And again, I'm not going to name the person because I mean I appreciate them messaging me, asking me these questions. They're good questions. I've been following some of the stuff coming out about the ramp and Karen Wheaton. Hold on, I want to make sure I don't say anything that gives away who she is or anything like that. Because again, I don't want. That's not what I do. Well, I say it like this. I'm somewhat on the fence about continuing to support the ramp. Because while everything is under investigation, it is hard to make a judgment call. I'm not actively supporting, but watching closely. Lots of claims have been made. Is there a podcast or video that lays out the allegations and brings the receipts? Can you point me to it? I'm sure I have some podcasts that go over everything, but just go check out all my podcasts on the ramp. Follow Rodrigo Burgos. He's done a lot of videos on the ramp. Follow Stephen Womack. He makes a lot of posts on the ramp. There's numerous more. But yeah, there's a bunch of those. Hey, what's up, Doc? How you doing? So do you know what was going on there? Hey, and I know I'm kind of having a conversation that everybody's don't know what I'm talking about, but there's a reason. I'll bring clarity in a minute. Anyway, let me get back to the question. You made a comment on someone else's comment that Karen Wheaton paid off victims over 2 years ago. Can you back that up with receipts? What I said was that it was at least 2 years ago. And I'm purposely vague about that because I don't want to give away the exact person I'm talking about that was involved because they're a survivor, they're a victim. I have the receipt of that, but I'm not allowed to show it right now due to all the pending litigation going on. So that's just one of the things, and I understand that everybody's not going to trust me on that. I get that. I don't expect everybody to, but that's just one of the, like, when I tell you that's factual, I have the receipts. If you choose to trust that, then, but if not, again, that's understandable. Also, I'm not the only one saying that. There's been numerous people that know that. It is something that will come out eventually. That's for sure. So I can say that about that. To go along with this, somewhere I had heard that investigations were conducted, and the investigators believed that the victims were making it up. I cannot tell you where I heard that. There's been so much videos and comments out there. I just honestly can't remember where that came from. Do you know anything about the investigations conducted 2 years ago and their outcomes? There's been no previous investigations. Am I wrong, Melissa? To my knowledge, there's been no law enforcement previous investigations because the ramp's never gone to the law enforcement. They've never reported this stuff to law enforcement. Unless there's something I'm missing. But I'll make sure because Melissa will definitely know. And that sounds like something they would spew. That is not true, though. No, there has been no law enforcement investigations into the stuff at the ramp before. Again, the ramps never reported the stuff like they're supposed to. Yeah, so yeah, no, Melissa's never heard of it either. So no, there's no. That's just something I would have learned about. I mean, because you talk about we are deep into everything that's happened and we're deep. So, no, that is not true at all. So wherever you saw that, that was a lie. The guy you keep putting a picture up of in the black cat who you mentioned was still baptizing in the river, where is the receipts? And was he ever convicted? Did he ever admit? One of the receipts is online due to one of his victims made an entire video. And I keep meaning to keep that where I can tell people exactly where to go. And I've got to do that. But you can find it. If you can't, go to Rodrigo Burgos's page and ask him. He knows exactly where it is, but I've got the video somewhere. But anyway, one of the victims made an entire video about exactly what happened to him. And let me pull his picture up. We can't be talking about him without his picture up. So this is Steven Tyler Jordan. This is going to be who she's talking about. So one of his previous victims, again, made the video very detailed about everything that happened. I've had a full, all-out personal conversation with another one of his victims that chooses to remain anonymous at this time. And the details of that encounter are horrible. As with the victim that made the video. I didn't doubt the victim that made the video. But after me personally speaking to another victim, this guy, Steven Tyler Jordan, is a child predator. Now, if I wasn't 100% sure of that, there's no way in hell I would be saying that because I would get sued. But in fact, I have challenged Mr. Steven Tyler Jordan to sue me if I'm wrong. If I am wrong, sue me because I'm calling you a child predator, Steven Tyler Jordan. I am calling you a child predator. I hope I'm clear on that. So if I'm wrong, then sue me. He's not going to. Plus, I've been calling him out for 6 months now. He's not going to because he knows it's true. He is still active at the ramp. He is still on staff. Now, allegedly, it's a volunteer position, but he is on staff with the camera crew or something like that. media crew, something. Oh yeah, I forgot I got the new picture. I don't have it saved on here. Let me pull it up. I'll have to pull it up from my other files. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up, for reminding me, Jessica. Oh, but I didn't save it on there. It's in the. Hold on. I know where it is. I don't even have my Discord up. That's why I'm not getting any Discord messages. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. I told you I'm close to being full out crazy anyway. But no, Stephen Tyler Jordan's a child predator. Karen Wheaton knows it. And this is one reason I keep calling him out, because when he is finally taken down, Karen Wheaton is not going to have the excuse of, I didn't know. No way. No way. She purposely parades him up front and things because I'm calling him out. There it is. I don't know why is that all skinny? What have I done here? Yeah, so this is an updated picture of Stephen Tyler Jordan. So he's changed his appearance a little bit. This was from this past weekend, while we're at the conducting the peaceful protest. So this is him, and he is a child predator. Oh, I opened up my Facebook and like 3 people had sent me that picture. Thank y'all. Let's see. All right, let's get back to the rest of the questions here. So, to answer the question, where's the receipts? Again, that's what I have. I personally interviewed one of his victims, and then one of his other victims, and we know there are more victims. Also, his other victim made this whole video that details everything that happened. Oh my goodness. I haven't left the house this evening at all, but apparently there's parts of Tuscaloosa that's completely flooded. Like fire. This just popped up. Firefighters are out having to rescue people. That just popped up. I was going to show y'all. I mean, literally having to rescue people on McFarland Boulevard, which, if you're not familiar with Tuscaloosa, it's one of the main. I mean, it is the main road that runs through Tuscaloosa. I don't know exactly what part that is, but it's pretty bad. So if you're around Tuscaloosa, be careful driving tonight. It was like 2 hours ago. Anyway. So the other parts of her question about Stephen Tyler Jordan, was he ever convicted? No, he's never been turned in. Both of the victims, the victim I spoke with and the one that put the video out, immediately after the incidents, immediately went to ramp leadership. One was immediately asked to pack their shit and leave. They kicked them out. The other one was told, he was victim blamed, and said, that's your, for lack of better words, that's your fault because you invited him to your apartment. Literally, I mean, seriously, that's what he was told. Question number 3. Do you have receipts of Karen Wheaton having complete knowledge and her actually believing the victim and choosing to side with the perpetrator? Is there any chance that she trusted the perpetrator and thought the victims were lying? Well, yes, that's what she said every time. The problem is, when it's the 40th freaking victim, you can't, there's a common denominator there. So for anyone that believes that she truly didn't believe the victims, that should be enough proof for you. I don't even know how many victims there are that went to ramp leadership, including Karen Wheaton, when the incidents happened. That number is, there's no telling how many there are. Every single one I've spoken with did. So, yeah, Karen can't use that excuse when, oh, you know, you're the 40th person to come and tell me this, but I don't believe you. I believe him. Also, Karen is a mandatory reporter in the state of Alabama. And Karen and anyone in ramp leadership. That means they don't get to make the decision of who to believe. If the accusation is made, they must contact law enforcement. She never did. Never did. I'm only here for the truth. My heart goes for the victims. I'm very angry. And I believe, like I said, the person that sent this, I mean, I think they were legit. They had these questions and they want to know the answers to them. And I respect that. I'm very angry at what is transpiring. I don't have an iron in this fire currently. I'm just very interested that the receipts are given so that it doesn't turn into conjecture, hearsay, and gossip. Again, here's the thing. Samuel Bentley himself has admitted to at least 2 victims. So that's not hearsay. That's not gossip. That's not allegations. And so we have him. He admitted. We've already talked about Mr. Stephen Tyler Jordan here. That brings us to Andrew High. So to answer the question about hearsay, whatever, yeah, Andrew High has been convicted and is literally in prison right now. Andrew High was on staff at the ramp. While he was on staff at the ramp overseeing children's camps, Karen Wheaton told one of her good friends, "Oh, don't send your kid to that summer camp." Because Andrew was running it, and she knew what he was doing. And she knew if Andrew messed with that person's kid that she wouldn't be able to shove it under the rug. So that's why she told that person, "Oh, don't send your kid there." But Andrew High was on staff at the ramp for quite a while. He finally, out of nowhere, was mysteriously gone from the ramp. And this is per accounts from students that were there at the time. Nobody would talk about it. They were all like, "Where did Andrew go?" And nobody would talk about it. Well, turns out he had moved to another ministry. My guess, and this is speculation, but what I'm sure happened is he kept doing it. And finally, Karen and other ramp leadership was like, "You're going to get us in trouble. You got to go." So they ran him off instead of turning him in. So he goes and he's immediately part of another ministry because they didn't turn him in. Within 1 month of him being at the other ministry, he's caught with a child. Thankfully, that ministry did what they're supposed to, called police. He was convicted and is now in prison over it. So, is there anyone out there that truly believes that he wasn't a child predator and then all of a sudden when he gets to another ministry, he turns into a child predator? No, nobody believes that. So again, that's not hearsay. He's in prison right now. Let's see. That brings us to Mr. Chase Cantrell. This fella. And I was trying to make it a little bigger. So Chase Cantrell here was one of the pastors at the ramp. He was on staff. He was also a school teacher for Winston County Schools. And while he was a pastor at the ramp on staff, he gets caught with a young student at the school, found guilty, convicted. So again, do we think that Chase Cantrell here was only a child predator while he was at school teaching and not in the evenings and on Sundays when he was at the ramp? I hope no one believes that. It's not a coincidence. So again, that's about as good a receipts as you could get. Now, while we're on this, we'll move on to Mr. Bobby Cook. So Bobby here is in the same boat as Steven Tyler Jordan as far as, never been turned in, no convictions, plenty of victims. And I've spoken to I've spoken to 2 of his victims. And then those of us that have been interviewing people and been digging into this have talked to numerous other people. Like, it's a known thing with everyone. Yeah, Bobby Cook likes young boys. It's a known thing. And again, I've spoken to 2 of his victims. This guy is a child predator. And he wasn't on staff at the ramp. He's one of Karen Wheaton's larger donors. So, he did own a restaurant. We've discussed numerous times about how they keep their students starving because they don't have time to have a real job. So if their family doesn't have money and send them money, they don't eat. That's purposely done. But Bobby saw one heck of an opportunity with all that. It was like, ooh, I can invite all these over to my house and cook for them and have these cookouts and have my pick. And that's what happened numerous times. So a bunch of the ramp students would go to his house. He would cook for them, feed them. And as the night started ending and they would all leave, except Bobby would always pick out 1 or 2 and convince them to stay there. And when everybody else would leave, then he would pounce on his victims. And it's horrible. It's, again, some of these stories I've heard from these victims, I can't even, it would literally be no way for me to describe how horrible they are. This guy is a child predator. Bobby Cook is a child predator. It's also another one that I've been calling out for quite a while now. But Karen, no pun intended, feeds him students so he will feed them and then get them where he wants them. Do I have a moderator on TikTok? There's a scam over here. Oh, wait, I can do it. I can do it myself. Sometimes I forget I can. All right. All right, I blocked that scam. So here's another one. Let's see. I think that's all the ones I've got up here. But we also need to, I didn't show Sam Bentley's face, so let's show. So this is Mr. Samuel Bentley. Karen Wheaton's son-in-law. Also, second in command was the CFO, one of the main pastors. I don't want to name a name, but you're going to know who I'm talking to. And if you respond, then I'll know I can. If you don't, then I'll know that I shouldn't. Because I can't remember. Is that something you're going to know what I'm talking about? Is that something we can talk about? What we just learned a couple days ago that's very sick? Because I can't remember it. I don't want to say it if I'm not supposed to talk about it. Yes, and his father was the former prior circuit court judge. Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to. Okay. Anyway, we'll move on. But Karen Wheaton's own son-in-law has been part of the ramp for over 20 years. Finally was forced in March to have to admit of at least 2 underage children that he harmed. There is no telling how many victims he has. There's no telling. And anyone that believes Karen Wheaton didn't know, you're just choosing to stay blind. And also, you can trust me on this. At some point, when all the information can come out, when that does, everyone will definitely know Karen Wheaton knew, and there's no way around that. And so all of those that are still making comments, that are still praising Karen Wheaton, that are still supporting Karen Wheaton, that stuff's not going to age well. And I cannot wait till that happens. Like, I cannot wait. Because at some point, information is going to be able to be put out. And there's not a person alive that can then say, oh, no, Karen's a good person. I'm telling you. And literally every single week, it gets worse and worse and deeper. And the deeper we get, it's stuff that Hollywood could not make up. It's stuff that you wouldn't even be allowed to put in a Hollywood movie. It's literally unbelievable. Unbelievable. Karen Wheaton is as evil could be. It doesn't get more evil than Karen Wheaton. Yeah, Sam definitely was in the wrong, but I think Karen is the real deal. Did you did you just jump on? Did you hear what I just said? I spent over 17 years in law enforcement. Most of those years was in investigations. Some of the things that I'm now learning that's going on at the ramp are as bad as it gets. Literally. And there is so much that Karen Wheaton herself is involved in. It's so much worse than I thought in the beginning. This is so much worse than Karen Wheaton just turning a blind eye to this. Way worse. When I tell you there is no doubt in my mind that true demons are at work there, that's the only way I could explain it. That's the only way I could explain it. Karen Wheaton has been a complete scam since day one. And she has never, when I first started looking into this, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And I would say, some of you heard me say it. I would say, I think Karen she was good and she was trying to do good. And then at some point she started like winging off and then she ended up being bad. No, I couldn't have been more wrong. I could not have been more wrong. And again, there's so many details that I can't say right now. Again, there's tons of pending litigation. Karen's been named in numerous lawsuits now, and there's more coming. And then there's the criminal investigation and stuff. So I don't want to say I'm not going to say anything that could mess any of that up. But there's a reason that I don't stop talking about the ramp, and I'm not going to. This place. Picture all the cult documentaries and movies you've seen. Some of the things Karen Wheaton herself is a part of are top 3 of anything I've ever seen worse. I'm talking about over David Koresh. Obviously a little different than Jim Jones because of what he did, but just as bad almost. Well, just as bad as far as the amount of lives she has ruined. Not ruined, but changed. I mean, every one of those victims' lives were changed. I'm telling y'all, just in the past like 2 weeks, some of the things we have found out would it'll make you fall out of your chair. And I don't see how this guy can talk about people like this, especially saying demons at work and things like that, when he cussed a storm up on the live. So I can't be a Christian if I cut. You understand curse words are arbitrary words that at some point certain humans decided were bad words. You understand that? So, yeah, tell me where the word shit is in the Bible. Tell me where the word fuck is in the Bible. Tell me, I've read the whole Bible. Tell me the place to go in the Bible where it says that I shouldn't say the word fuck. Tell me. These are literally words that at some point certain people decided were bad. I don't have a problem with curse words. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. You know what we're teaching her? If someone touches her that she doesn't want touching them, you know what we're teaching her to say? Don't fucking touch me. We're purposely teaching her to say that. Because if a child predator even thinks about touching her and she says that, they're going to go find another victim. I promise you that. Acting like that I'm some evil human for saying what you deem a curse word is so ignorant. I can't even describe how ignorant that is. You don't have a problem with Karen Wheaton, who is completely responsible for numerous children's lives being changed for the worst by far. Not to mention the amount of money that she has stolen from people, scammed out of people. Do you know how many years she's been raising money for certain projects that she never did, even though she raised the amount of money 4 times, 5 times over? That's fraud. And she's committed a lot of it. I'm saying, what proof has there been that Karen is in the wrong? If you were on here 30 minutes ago, I laid it all out for you. And again, you're the kind, no matter what we show you or tell you, receipts, whatever, you are choosing to stay blind right now. And until you choose not to, you're not going to see it, dude. If he wouldn't say, I love this. So let me make a point. My point is, if he wouldn't say them in front of a church speaking, then you know it's wrong. You know what else I'm not going to do in a church? Have sex. Is that wrong? No, but I'm not going to go and do it in a church. Turns out a lot of that goes on in the ramp, in the freaking building. And half of them were with underage kids. Your logic of, well, if you can't do it in a church or say it in a church, it's not right. You're proving yourself to be even more ignorant, dude. I mean, that's all I can say. But yes, if I'm up in front of any organization I'm a public speaker. I get paid to go and speak at places and organizations. Yeah, I'm not going to just, there's certain organizations when I'm speaking, there's certain things I'm not going to say. That's common sense. It doesn't make it a sin. Trust me, I'm a sinner. I am far from perfect. There are plenty of things you could hit on me about, and you're choosing, because I say what you deem as curse words, you I'm guessing you're young. And I hope one day you gain a lot more wisdom. I truly do. I don't wish you bad or anything like that. I hope, because when I was young, I was not wise at all. But I really hope one day you start gaining wisdom, because you're so small minded, and that's proven in your logic. Um, so you're very small minded. So let me ask you this, Josh. Are you truly sitting there saying that over 100 different people all got together one day and all decided to tell the same lie? Do you truly believe that? And it's a legit question. Do you truly believe that? And by the way, that's not even taking into account the amount of actual facts that we have that we can prove, such as, is it two, at least two, no, three of previous staff members are known child predators, as far as either admitted or been convicted of it. That's not a coincidence, dude. The funny thing is, all of y'all getting quick to anger and mad at me, y'all are adults who call yourselves Christian, but are telling me, saying, bro, go to bed and stuff. So are you, hold on. Are you saying we're not Christian? Is that what you're saying? Where's the love of Christ in y'all? There's a lot of people I love. Child predators are not any of those people. So, no, I have no love for them. I have none. So, but again, I mean, I ask you a legit question, and I'd like for you to answer it. Are you saying that I'm not a Christian? You're not going to answer that? Let me say easy answer, yes or no. So you're not saying that. Okay. It seemed like you were implying that, but maybe I'm wrong. What's sad is some of these same tactics that you're trying to use is exactly what you were taught at the ramp and what they try to say. We're talking about the worst crime you could commit, in my opinion, by far, harming children. And your response to that is, where's the love for Christ? Yeah, and like that's a good point, Audie. Would you say that, Josh? Do you say that when when you read in the Bible where Jesus flipped over tables? Is that what comes to your mind when you read that? You are brainwashed. That's not your fault. Like legit, that's not your fault, dude. It's not. But you are brainwashed. And hopefully, and I pray that one day you realize that. There's quite a few people on here right now that used to be you, that went to the ramp, that were brainwashed just like you. And thankfully, they finally realized that. And but I've never met, and I'm not trying to be funny, I've never met a cult member, a current cult member that will admit they're in a cult. Every single one I've ever spoken with, met, they did not they don't think, they don't realize they're in a cult. And that's, I'm talking about some of the like crazy worse cults. They don't realize they're in a cult. Thankfully, some of them finally do and make it out, but a lot don't. Oh yeah, I'm sorry for. Oh, I forgot I was on this screen. Yeah, for those just coming in, I'm on multiple platforms, so if you don't see a comment I'm responding to, it's going to be a comment from another platform. And I try to. Sometimes I'm not great at this, but I try to read the comment before I respond to it, so everybody knows. Oh yeah, that's another one that somebody has brought to my attention. I gotta get him on my screen for next time. Austin Lee Buddy Scoggins was another previous ramp staff member that was arrested for SA in Ohio, and also 4 counts in Alabama. So that brings us, we're up to 9 known child predators that have been on staff at one time or the other at the ramp. 9. Again, that's not a coincidence. Josh, and like I said, it's not your fault that you're brainwashed. I get that. I really would, and I have some people that were you. I have some people that were literally you that said all the same things you're saying right now. That they were students at the ramp, they were all in, and then finally they they woke up. Like somebody said a while ago, they woke up and they realized, and they would be glad to talk to you like respectfully and have adult conversations with you if you would talk to them. I just message me if you're willing to do that, and I promise you they will reach out to you immediately and be glad to talk to you. And I mean that. And all I'm asking you to do is talk to them. I'm not saying change your mind. I'm not nothing like that. Have a conversation with them. What is it, Christy? Do you think you might ever read my DMs on TikTok? I haven't asked in over a month, and you're not reading my comments on TikTok or YouTube. I'm sorry, I haven't seen your comments till just then. That's the first comment of yours I've seen. The best way to message me to where I can guarantee you I will see it is go to agentdbaker.com, my website, and there's is a big button, blue button that says contact. And you just hit that. You'll see it. And you just put your name, email address, and then a message, and that comes straight to me. And that's the best way. So I apologize if I've not gotten to your messages on there, but I get so many, it's impossible for me to get them all. But if you'll do that, I will, and I'll look here. I'll look right now while you're on here. I don't have anything from you on TikTok. I'll look on Facebook. Okay, I do have I do have some from you on Facebook. Oh, I have responded back to. I apologize, Christy. I do. I will. Oh, okay. I know who you are now. I didn't realize. Okay. Yeah, Christy, I will message you back as soon as this live's over. But I see your messages now. Yeah, I saw your TikTok messages as well. But yeah, I'll message you as soon as the live's over. All right. Cut it a little short tonight. I've got an early day in the morning. Um, which reminds me, make sure you all are still praying for Will Roberts' family. Brittany, his mom Brittany, his dad Jason, his sister Charlie, the entire family, and all of his friends. Um, his funeral is in the morning. Um, but please pray for them. I cannot imagine what they're going through right now. But I do think that a lot of good's going to come of Will's life. It already has, and I think it's only the beginning. And I look forward to that. But I ask you all to please pray for them for sure. But I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday night, Saturday morning. Hope you all have a great weekend. I will see y'all back Monday night at 8 p.m. Central, and I'll be back on all the platforms. My lives are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday nights. Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central, and Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central. And then remember, Wednesday night lives are exclusively on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go over there and subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, just hit subscribe. And that's also one of the uh, places that you can find my full podcast. You can find my full podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And if you're whatever platform you're on, make sure you're following me. I'd appreciate that. You can find me on everything under Agent D Baker, except for my main Facebook page is just my full name, Derek Derek Baker. And again, I'm trying to build up the YouTube channel, so if you're not subscribed over there, I'd really appreciate it if you go over there and hit subscribe. And then again, also that's the only place you can catch the Wednesday night lives. So I appreciate all that. If there's anything I can do for anyone, again, go to my website, agentdbaker.com, hit the contact button, and shoot us a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if we can help you, we will. If we can't, we'll tell you we can't. But if you have any information about anything, whether it's something I'm covering or something you'd like to see me look into, shoot that to us, and I'll be glad to take a look at that. If you or anyone you know is interested in being a guest on the podcast, again, same thing. Go through the website and shoot us a message, and always looking for interesting podcast guests. And also on that, it doesn't have to be like anything in particular. I mean, anyone that has anything interesting, or I mean, most people are interesting in themselves. So I mean, anyone's interested in being a guest, don't be afraid to reach out and ask. For sure. Make sure you check. I put out a short, like a 20-minute podcast earlier today. Now I did put it on everything about Flock, just because I'm seeing so much misinformation about it. And I also give my opinion on all of that as well. And I'm curious as to everyone else's opinion. So go check that podcast out and comment on them. Your opinion, your thoughts. I would love to hear everybody's. Other than that, I think that's about it. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Welcome to Truth Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, former narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran. With years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I've seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. Before this show begins, understand this. What you are about to hear may be disturbing to some audiences. This podcast contains explicit language, dark themes, and real conversations that are not suitable for children and may be triggering for some individuals. If you choose to continue, do so knowing this content is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.